Hello everybody, today I want to make a card like this, with the new cows from Lawn Fawn. This is a Ta-Da Diorama I made with their die cuts. Looks like this. But one can also make it easily oneself. There's also other brands who have something like this. In Germany there's Realis, which make there it's called a theater card. And here it's Ta-Da Diorama. And I want to make it a bit bigger. This is very, very small. This is half an A2. And I want to make the same size as the last one. It's actually double this size. And I don't know if it's the same in America. If I take that size and do twice and another two, then I have a normal A4 paper. But I don't know if your bigger paper is exactly twice A2 and another twice A2. Okay. And I want to use those very cool cows, the Highland cows, which are new. And just to show you, I did use those die cuts for this one. But I'm gonna make it myself somehow. I do like this pyramid very much. And with a bigger card, I want to make a bigger pyramid. And I think this one would be amazing on top, doing the top position. But I also like it here. It presents kind of the pyramid. So I would like to mirror this stamp. And I do have a mirror stamp thingy, which is just a photopolymer stamp. It's just one plain thing. This is the thing. And you should never put that on another thing. You won't get them apart. Two of those together will be hard to take apart. So I can just put that here. I have a good stamping platform which has those retractable things. So it is a bit higher than a Misty or something. So this works with photopolymer silicone stamps or red rubber stamps. And then I place my stamp on this side. Cool thing is it sticks here. And warning, it doesn't work well. But yeah, it works enough so one can make something with it. Then ink it up. 1, 2, 3. Take it off. Put that on. Close it. One chance only because it will lift it up because it's sticky. Okay. Okay. So one can see the hint of the cow, which is not too bad. I will have to outline it with those pencils. Either there's Copic pencils, multi-liners, or this is an Edding, a waterproof thing. I haven't even tried it with the Copic markers, alcohol markers, but I'll see. And I want to make another one. I put this a bit higher. Still aim for that. Maybe a bit higher. And I will stamp it on the back side. Because it might be that this, even though it didn't give the color before, it might give it later and wreck this image I already have. And also then those smudges I just did don't matter. Okay, let's do that again. Well, I thought maybe speed is the solution, but it just doesn't go well. You just get the hint of the image and you have to be fine with that. Now is it this dirty there? Okay, that's just... Oh, take it off, take it off. Put it here. Stamp it. For the best. Yeah, I don't know how else to make that work. So and now I cut it apart because they're very close together. Yeah, and then I will outline them. I need 2 glasses for this. Here we go with the preparation for the interactive mechanism. First, I make 4 parts out of this one paper. Then I have very nice even parts, as I've shown you at the beginning, the size of that white card, which is the same. It's going to be my background. Then I use one of those green layers for my front panel. I cut out a hole Later on, I realized a smaller hole would have been better. With the next 2 panels, I score it in the middle. That is important. And I make a glue flap on the side, which can be individual. I did 2 centimeters, which is a little less than an inch, but it's important to score it in the middle. It depends on what size you are taking. So do that twice because we need 2 sides. With the 4th panel, I am cutting out grassy borders. I cut that out from both sides and I make one a bit higher than the other one. And then I use the rest of that paper there in the middle to make some strips, which I need later on to attach everything together. So first I cut off this grassy leftovers on both sides. And then I used the metal thing of my guillotine cutter to measure the size. I just wanted to have 2 small strips about the same size. And here we go. Those are the strips. Then I need to cut off a little bit more on the side panels. You see they're the same as the background, but in the end they need to be a tiny bit smaller than the background. When you fold them into 2, when you fold them in half and put them next to each other, they fit exactly on that white panel thingy. But I need a little line, a little nothing on top and the bottom, because in the end they're gonna go into a sleeve and that sleeve needs some space. So I cut off, it's maybe about this much on the bottom, this much on the top. I didn't measure it, I just cut off a very small part. It's 1 to 2 millimeters, which is about 1/16 of an inch. Now I need to score those that we just cut to the same size as the card. They're going to be on the back side exactly as long as the card is, and with a little glue flap. I just made that 1 centimeter or something. It doesn't matter how big that is. Now here I measure 2 centimeters. That is the glue flap we did at the beginning. And also I halven the distance there, that 1 centimeters. I will cut that off. I don't need that part. But it is important to measure where, just subtract the glue flap from this panel. Then I have another leftover piece. I make the edges even all around. And then I score them just at every centimeter, which is about 3/4 inch, half an inch, maybe half an inch, maybe less. So those will be the stoppers we need for the layers, for the grassy borders we put in between. And I need 8 of those lines. So I have 8 things. I need 4 stoppers, and each needs 2 of those balcon, 2 of those things, columns. Then I cut that apart. I cut off the rest, and then I bent that in the middle, and this is going to be the stopper. I can trim that to size, and that goes exactly to that line we just marked before that. It's actually the glue flap line, because I don't want it to be bigger than my background will be. Now I thought it's a bit flimsy, so I will cut out the same hole of a white panel. That's why I put it on top of each other and just put it through the die cutting machine at the same time, so I have it on the same size. As good as it gets. Then I mark it so I know exactly how I cut it, and I don't have to figure that out later. Now comes a bit more the tricky part. I need to make slits to insert those grassy layers. And for that, I put down my side panels on my background first with the glue flap looking to the outside. And then I take my grassy borders and just have a look at it, how that will come. This is now to everybody's liking, how they want to do that. I don't give measurements. I have to make it work every time. I'm not good with measuring, so I just improvise a lot. But here I see how far in I want to have those slits, how far in I want to have those borders. And then I see how high, also I just make a line, kind of straightish. And then I want to figure out how high I want to cut those slits. I don't want to have them too close to the edge. So this is 7 millimeters, as close as I dared to. I was scared I ripped my paper. Then I measure the height of the front layer, because this is now the front slit. And then I take I put them down again. I also put the frame down at some point to see what you see through there. And now I figure out how high I want to cut that back slit for the back layer. And then I try to replicate this on the other panel. And I paid attention that I had the front line, which is further away from the glue flap, smaller than the back line. Just you need to see that you have them facing the right way. And now I need to cut them out. This took me a while. Also, I had to go over it again later on because it didn't work at first. It's hard with the grassy borders. You could make it easier when you take a straight border you put in there, or even a hillside is also easier than that jagged grassy edge I took. So that didn't make it easier. And I make it quite wide. In the end, I think they got even wider. I just really wanted my layers to be able to go in and out of that slit. And in between I measure. Now you see the front line is a bit shorter and a bit lower, and the other one is higher, and they're very wide. Now I test it and I see that the grass is just gets stuck right there. So I decided I will trim off the grass a bit, and I will also make my slits higher. But if I have to and it doesn't work in the end, I can just trim the grass a bit. Get the lawn mower out. So I will test it a bit, and that's why you can do it however you want to. Just trial and error, and just work on it a bit. So I make them higher, and then I test it again on both sides, and now they work. Ta-da! I'm glad. Now I want to start decorating a bit. I start with putting my panels the right way around. I need to pay attention that those slits are both on top or both on the bottom. And the closed side faces to each other. And then I put them together with washi tape, because if you want to have a stamp on the front which goes over both panels, or with the ink blending to have a seamless ink blend, you need to just attach them a bit, so you can do that. Also with the first card, I did put my letters over that gap, over that middle line, and then I cut it apart in the end, and that's why I also had to have it together like that. And I used my VersaFine inks for that, because I do have dedicated brushes for that. Each color has a brush, and even though I prefer working with Distress Oxides, those ink pads are just closer and easier accessible than the other ones, which I have to get up and get the sponges and the stumps and everything to make it work. But I don't really like working with inks that much. Also, I did the grassy layers, and the outside panel, I did ink blend that from the inside. I thought that is a nice change, and have a little dimension on it like that. Now here, this is an older brush, and I want to show you how well that works. And I've washed it out a few times, so I used it. Yeah, and do you see how much gets out there? It's just splotchy and doesn't work, so I throw it out and use this other new brush, and look at that difference. So sometimes when the ink doesn't go on the paper, it's not that the ink pad is empty or something, but that the brush is old and doesn't work anymore. So here I do the sky. I do have lovely new colors, which I got with my last Lawn Fawn release, and I'm very happy about that. I got some greens and some blues. Yeah, and also that I got Distress Spritz, which is very cool. I just spritzed that on the background, and it doesn't show up that much here, but it just looks lovely. It's very sparkly. I also made this border for the background, which I forgot before, and also forgot to spritz that, because with the others here you see more speckles on it. I also used the Gansai Tambi watercolors, which are so nice and shiny, but I didn't do that. Didn't get those out again for the background. Now I can arrange my letters and use the whole space, because it's quite a big space, and I think that is lovely in a round. I'm a bit sad it didn't go over the middle line, but yeah, it just worked out like this, and I think I'm gonna do it like that. And then I adhere them all with glue, starting with the T, stopping with the A. I also put that glass on it, so it was flat a bit. because I didn't want them to slip, because I just put the frame on it to see how far it goes, and I didn't want it to move. Okay, now I have to put on those side things. And then I thought, oh, this cross, I wouldn't see it anymore once I glue that on. And then I realized I need to glue those two things together to make them strong. And it's a good thing I made that cross, that X there, because otherwise I would have just glued on my strips onto the green one. Then I can take those strips, which are the sleeves for the panels that will go through there, and I will score the line properly and add some score tape on both ends on the glue flaps. Then I can take off the release paper now or later and put it as close as I can to the opening. I want to have it closer to the opening than to the edge, because in the end I want to cut out a notch so I can reach my panel better, and I don't want to accidentally cut through my green line. So once I have it in place, I can just take the release paper off and bend it over and put it down. Now here I do the same thing again. I put it down first. I make sure that those score lines are on the card edges. And then I hold it in place, take off the release paper, fold it over, put it down. And like that, it's very easily adhered and at the right place. Now I think I want to try out, no. First we need to work on the background. So I attach the grassy border. Then I get my very cool matchstick box thingy out, which I made myself, where I keep some die cuts, which I like very much. I like clouds, and when I cut out too much, I have a drawer for that. Also have a drawer for circles or other things. And I just quickly, I don't like decorating, so I quickly added some clouds, and I'm not fussy about it. I didn't even lay them out first. I just put them down and hoped for the best. And I think it's all right. I don't even look at it anymore. Okay, so now we have the background ready. Now we need to adhere the side panels, and for that we need to take them apart first. Then I score the lines very nicely, the glue flap, because I wanted to bend nicely to that side. They're both bent in the same way. So it comes like this, and then we've got two whatever folds which look in the same way. Same on the other side, of course. And now with the first one, I pay attention that on top and the bottom I have a little strip left over where I see the background. Left and right, I try to make as flush as possible. Because again, the sleeve needs to wrap around, it needs that little space on top and the bottom. Then I can just flap it around, put glue on it. You could also use score tape and stuff. I need to pay attention that I don't adhere too much. You can see how the glue spills out because I'm very generous with my glue. I love my glue. It works very well. But if it spills out on the inside, it might rip the scenery. So I open it as soon as possible, and then I score, make it nice and flat and very, very sturdy. Very good Swiss quality. And then I bent this panel in half. And now I don't orient myself on the edge, but on the other panel. I just want those to be as seamless as possible. So I hold it in place there. I go underneath, and open it. And just try to hold it in place so I can then lift that flap, put the glue on, and it's in perfect placement, aligned with the other flap. And then dasselbe Spiel, the same spiel here to adhere it and pay attention that it does not glue onto the middle part, which is self-explanatory. But I don't want to cut right now. I just want to voice over the rest. Okay, now we have that done. And I can try out if it works. So I take my front panel with those sleeves, and now I can see if it fits, because again we cut off a little strip to make it less high, this panel, and it fits. Isn't that lovely? I find this part quite hard. It's a bit fiddly to put it in there, and quite often it falls out again. So you could also attach some tassels or something to make it hold better. Now I realize for one, it works, but two, I can't grip it very well, so I need those notches, which I forgot. Yeah, so I get a punch. I only have this one left. I had a smaller one, which I broke because I punched too many magnets. And now I just try to not cut through the whole strip of green because we want this intact. And that's why we put it closer to the inside than the outside. Could also be a bigger strip. It doesn't really matter. Okay, then I just cut them out. So ungefähr circa. I tried to put it in the middle, but they're not in the middle. But at least it's done. And then now the tricky part. We put in the layers in the middle. And again, grassy layers make it so much harder. I cannot advise that. But if you want to make it hard on yourself, try out grassy layers. And now I take a stopper. I fold it in half. I score it nicely. And then I put it, I add some glue, actually a lot of glue. Again, because and there you see the line we measured at first. This is the line which is as big as the glue flap is from the side panels. And then we add this stopper to the front of this line. And we can shorten it as much as we want to. So this does not go through. One, it is thicker anyway, and two, it is longer. So this is adhered in the middle. You don't get that out again. With others, you could get it out again. Those are forever. They just stay there. So I added the other stopper too. And sometimes I have to cut off a little grass because it doesn't work. And again, also when the layer slips a bit up, it doesn't work. So it needs to be on the bottom part of the slit, or it doesn't fit through the slit. And now we need to figure out where we can attach our cows. So here I'm measuring from slit to slit when the card is nearly all flat, because that is all the space that the cows will have when the card is closed. I have that on my score thingy. And now I took that paper, which is about the size of that part where I can adhere my cows. And then I get my pyramid, which I already prepared before. I thought about where I want to put them. And I see those cows fit nicely next to each other. So that won't be an issue on that grassy border in between the card. So that is good news. And yeah, I guess I forgot again how I wanted it. And yeah, isn't that funny? with the mirrored cows there, the middle layer. And then I just added one on top. Okay, now I didn't know how to go on. I thought I'd just put it in and yeah, see how it turns out there. And for that, at first, I put the reference paper down there. And I put the front layer in so I can see how high that goes. So I see how high I should put the cows, adhere the cows. And then I add them in there. And I do that also off camera. It took me a while to adhere them properly, but you see the layout. And yeah, the last one is there on top, on the horns. And then I pull it down. That's what I meant before. It needs to be down, this layer, or it won't work. And ta-da! It works. Happy moment. Good feelings. And then I can add the other layer in the front. You could have added that before, but it's just easier when you don't have that much in there. And I added the stoppers on both sides. And now, again, the layers slip on up all the time. And it's a bit hard. I can put it in the sleeve one more time. And then I think I mentioned it at the beginning. I don't like that the hole is so big that I made. Because like that, I think I need another grassy border in the front of it. Because here you can see the gap. You can see the table through the frame to the first layer. But it works. I'm very happy about that. And I still need to do that with a grassy border there and add the last cow, but I will do that off camera and then this card will be finished. So I finished the card. I only added this layer in front, which turned out a bit too small again, but I didn't want to do it again. It is very warm here and my paper is a bit humid, so my layers bend in the middle and it does not work so well. But one thing I wanted to mention is when you want to put something on the front layer here, the window you can put something on is even smaller than on the back, because when it's closed, okay, so the grassy layers are hard and the humid paper. When it's closed, the slits that are for the front layer, they're even closed. There's the back slits and here's the front slit. So I could add a cow in the middle. That would work fine. But if I put something, I can also put something on the side, which I can demonstrate with this bureau clamor paper clip, and then it just has to, if I close it, when I close it, it shows out on one side, because if the image is there and it closes, the layer has to push out on one side. So that is that. And this is the size difference of the cards, and the thing that I just explained, I could have shown way nicer with this card, because I did put a cow here to the side, and when I close this, it just shows up a little bit on this side. And now I thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one.